Am I the a-hole for telling my wife my childhood friend will never forgive her for what she did? My wife, 32F, and I, 34M, have been married for 6 years, together for 10. We have a 4-year-old son. A few years ago, my close childhood friend, 34F, got married. We've been extremely close since we were kids. Both our families were dysfunctional in different ways. At one point, my dad cheated on my mom with her mom. They got married, divorced a year later, and we basically ended up abandoned by both sides. Through all that, we became really close with each other. She even has 2 tattoos that relate to our bond. I would have gotten a tattoo too, but I'm sort of scared of needles. My wife was actually close to my friend too, and never showed signs of being insecure about our friendship until postpartum hit. After our son was born, she really struggled. Her emotions were all over the place, and she became extremely insecure about my relationship with my friend. I was supposed to be man of honor at my friend's wedding, help plan things, and be a big part of the ceremony. But my wife was so anxious and uncomfortable, she begged me not to attend. It made me really sad, but I chose my wife. I told my friend I couldn't go and told her why. She was really hurt by it. Not angry, just really sad, but said she understood. A couple months later, my wife fully recovered and apologized, both to me and to my friend. I forgave her. My friend, however, didn't. When my wife reached out to my friend to apologize, my friend was polite but direct. She said she never wanted to speak to her again. She didn't yell or make a scene, she just drew a boundary. Honestly, I get it. It was a once-in-a-lifetime day, and she'd leaned on me for years, and I bailed. I still feel guilty about it. My friend and I still talk regularly. Nothing inappropriate. We're just close. Always have been. Recently, my wife asked if there was any chance my friend would forgive her. I told her the truth. No. That ship sailed. My wife got sort of quiet and looked sad and hasn't brought it up again, but I wonder if I was too blunt. AITA for not giving my wife hope and just telling her forgiveness probably isn't happening? AITA has no consensus bot. OOP received mixed responses, but leaning toward white yays. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. Asking out of genuine curiosity. How is this going to work? Is your bestie going to skip all life milestones and celebrations on your end? Or is it expected that she will be there and your wife is uncomfortable? Is it safe to assume your bestie isn't involved in your child's life? I'm just trying to fully understand the situation. OOP, downvoted. Surprisingly, it doesn't actually change too much. We've always had our own little way of celebrating milestones, just the two of us. Like for birthdays, promotions, or any personal wins, we usually do something simple but meaningful like grabbing dinner at our favorite spot, exchanging gifts, or just spending a few hours catching up. That's always been our tradition, even before we had other people in our lives. Obviously, the bigger get-togethers with all 4 of us, me, my wife, her husband, won't be happening anymore, but those weren't really the core of our friendship. She's not involved in my child's life, and I'm not looking to be involved in her future kid's life either. We actually agreed a while back that keeping our friendship separate from family stuff was the healthiest way to go. Too many complications otherwise. And yeah, my wife and her used to hang out occasionally, but that part of things has naturally ended now. Commenter 2. Everyone is congratulating you for choosing your wife, but I don't see it that way. It seems you technically did choose her, but you were too honest with your friend. Yes, being too honest is a real thing. She didn't need to know the ins and outs of your wife's mental health crisis. But you shared that with your friend to make the excuse of picking my wife. You turned the situation into a friend versus wife scenario, and the whole time, it was really a wife versus her own mental health situation. As a father of a newborn or a baby who is a few months old, you could have made excuses for not attending the wedding without sharing the insecurity aspect of your wife's struggles. The friend didn't need to know that information if you were truly picking your wife. It would have been harder, but the fact that you are allowing your friend to maintain no contact with the wife while y'all hang out and do whatever is shady to me. Your wife, and you should be a package deal. If you were really picking her, that would be the case. Sure, your wife drove the decision, and sure, you technically picked correctly. But since then, you have abandoned your wife with her guilt over an incident that happened when she was out of her mind. You aren't working to help resolve the conflict or smooth things over. You're letting your wife know she shouldn't even expect your best friend to treat her better because she's so awful to have needed you during her PPD. That's trash behavior, and I truly hope you recognize that. And instead of just letting your friends treat your wife like she doesn't exist, set your own boundaries and say, Look, I know it wasn't ideal, but I needed to be with my family, and they aren't going anywhere, so if you continue to blame and ostracize my wife, which hey, you can totally do that, your choice. Just know I can't allow someone who can't hold sympathy for my life partner to be my best friend. That title is important and means things, and one of those things is not being a jerkwad to my wife. After all, if you can forgive me for supporting her during that time, why can't you forgive her for this? Regardless of how you handle this going forward, if your best friend and your wife are no contact, eventually you'll have to pick a side again, and it seems like you haven't picked your wife's side in a while. YTA. ETA. I read Ops one comment. He's trash with his "we agreed to stay away from each other's families as that's healthier" BS. I stand by my YTA. Commenter 3. Your wife's mental health episodes after birth should not be held over her head for the rest of her life. Sure, it was massively inconvenient, but these episodes never happen at convenient times. I'm happy she got better and owned up to it. That is more of a positive than you will ever know. There is something that's bothering me, though. Let me ask you this. If your wife had cancer and the same type of emotional responses happened, would you still think your friend should cut her off? What about a stroke that can temporarily change cognitive functions? What about? I could go on, but I hope you see my point. In my view, your wife went through something that physically/medically altered her mental state and mental health. This wasn't a bad day. This was chemical and hormonal changes causing imbalances culminating in a mental health crisis from giving birth to your child. Sure, you missed an event, but your wife was missing her soul with no warning while welcoming the new life she just pushed out. If your friend can't see this was a family crisis that needed you, is she really the friend you say she is? If you can't see it, are you really the support you think you are? When you say you prioritized your wife, go all the way with that, dude. It shouldn't stop just because your friend can't understand that your family will always take priority. Update, 5 days later. Wow, I didn't expect the sheer gravity of responses I got. Reading through everyone's perspectives really opened my eyes. A lot of you reminded me that my wife went through a really tough mental condition postpartum, and regardless of how much it hurt my friend, my wife doesn't deserve to be punished forever for it. So a couple of days ago, I had a long, honest talk with my friend. I told her that my wife and I are a package deal, and while I understood why she was so hurt and disappointed, my wife had already repented and apologized enough. I told her that if she truly valued our friendship, she needed to hash it out with my wife so we could all move forward. It was a really emotional conversation. My friend was very sad at first, and we talked a lot about the past and how things had changed. Eventually, she agreed. Later that day, she called my wife, apologized for holding the grudge, and accepted my wife's apology too, and they had a nice, happy talk. My wife was honestly so relieved and happy. It felt like a huge weight was lifted. During my talk with my friend, she also said she really misses hanging out with me like we used to before all this marriage drama. She said she would accept the apology, but she just wants to spend more one-to-one time with me again. I accepted that, told her I appreciate her honesty, and assured her that I still value our friendship deeply. She seemed really happy about it. So yeah, that's probably my final update. My wife is happy, my friend has let go of the resentment, and I feel like I finally did right by both of them. Thank you all for your advice. It really helped me see what I needed to do. Top comments. Commenter 1. Everyone congratulating you on picking your wife when you clearly said you planned to spend more one-on-one time with a woman who caused significant problems in your marriage and lacks the compassion to understand PPD. Still not picking the wife. Still an AH. Commenter 2. Okay, so from the previous post, it sounded like your wife was going through postpartum, dealing with a lot of insecurity and mental illness, and she needed you at her side. Meanwhile, there is this other woman that is not your wife that has tattoos related to your bond that is very close to you. It's kind of impossible for her not to feel a type of way about it deep down. Regardless of all that fact, your wife was going through some really horrible times birthing your kid. Are men incapable of realizing the toll childbirth takes on the woman's body? Because in the first post, you literally sounded like you blamed your wife as well and resented her for needing you to do your job as her partner. Still, she apologized to you and your friend, but your friend still held a grudge unnecessarily, might I add, because when it came to your wife, none of it was done maliciously. You had to basically give your friend an ultimatum in order to accept your wife's apology. You do realize she wasn't going to accept that apology if you didn't tell her that she would also lose you, right? And it's proven when after all that she still requests to have only one-on-one time with you. Sir, You are a husband and a father. Like, are we reading the same thing? Where is the emotional maturity everybody's talking about with you? It literally took Reddit to push you to use your brain to realize, as a married man and a father, you should put your wife and kid first. Your wife deserves better, cause what the hell is this? Just know,